Hi, what's up, sourcing warriors? I hope you're having a great day. Someone from my Facebook group asked me, I found a direct Chinese factory, but they don't have export license. What should I do? So in this video, I'm gonna explain, number one, what should you do? And number two, the pros and cons of working with a factory who doesn't have export license. If we just met, my name is Yuping Wang. I'm here to share with you the best sourcing and money-making tips. By the way, if you're a complete beginner, very new to sourcing, I have created this what to say cheat sheet. The link is below. It's a free download. It has some great information to help you start sourcing, not like a rookie. It will help you start source and talk like a pro. So free download, feel free to check it out. So you find a factory, but they don't have export license. Why they don't have export license? Why they're talking to you without export license? Actually, in China, the import and export business are highly regulated and is quota-based. To apply for import-export license is a complex process. Even if you have the license, you have to meet the annual quota. So it is not uncommon to find direct factory who doesn't have import-export license. It is not necessarily bad to work with a direct factory who doesn't have export license. So let me explain the pros and cons of working with a direct factory who doesn't have the export license. Pro first or the con first? Let's go with the pro. So working with a direct factory, the pro number one, the advantage number one is the cost, the price. These factories who doesn't have export license, most likely they are direct component suppliers and subcontractors to other companies who are doing the export business, not to mention all these middlemen and trading companies. So the price you're getting from these direct factories without an export license is most likely the most competitive. So that is a huge consideration if your product is very cost sensitive. And the pro number two is the risk of a competition. The risk of a competition working with a direct factory without a driver license, without an export license is less because they're not interested in selling your product directly to the market where you are selling. They are interested in focusing producing the product, the component and the product they are producing and supply to other people. So that two advantages working with the direct factory without export license should be considered if depending on your product, price sensitivity and the design sensitivity. The cons of working with these direct factories without export license, number one, these factories are very small. Most likely they're very small companies. Not necessarily they're not good. They could have been in business for 20, 30 years, but they're still a single owner mom and pop shop. A lot of tribal knowledge, the owner knows it all. There's no process or SOPs like those big factories. The con number two is transaction complication. Since the direct factory doesn't have an export license, they have to find a middle person, the export agency who does have export license in order to do business with you. So the export agency normally charge between 2 to 5% to help these direct factory out. So the pro forma invoice initially coming from the direct factory now is coming from the export agency, and the beneficiary on the pro forma invoice for your payment is going to be the export agency. When you make the wire transfer, you're actually sending money to the export agency. When they receive the money, they will transfer the money to the factory and then they start the production. This does add a layer of a complication to the PO transaction because there's a middleman involved now. So what should you do now? Let me tell you my experience. Personally, I don't mind working with these direct factory without export license at all, as long as their price is super competitive. Most of the time, these small direct factories, their price is a lot more competitive than other people would have quoted you. And as long as their quality is good, they're dependable, and they're honest people to work with. Just because they're small, they don't have an export license, that doesn't mean they're not good. So I don't mind working with these people at all. What about the transaction complication? How do you protect yourself? Number one, make sure the pro forma invoice coming directly from the factory to you. The reason you do this is to make sure communication trails are clear. You're doing business between yourself and the factory. Just because the pro forma invoice now is titled between you and the export agency, it doesn't mean that you are all of a sudden start to communicate with the export agency. Keep your communication trail clear between you and the factory. The number two is to make sure you ask the factory to acknowledge your payment made to the export agency. It doesn't matter how much, $5, $100. As at the minute they acknowledge that you have sent the payment to the export agency and they have received the payment from the export agency, you have established the connection between you, the export agency, and the factory, and the paper trail is established. So if you find a small direct factory who doesn't have export license, it is okay to work with them. Maybe it's a good fit for your business. Maybe you just started. As you continue to grow, you can continue to find the bigger factories who does have export license. I hope this video is helpful for you. If you love and enjoy the content, don't forget to support this channel, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.